Rabbi, there's a moedige Sfas Emes that I want to point out to you. Gewaltige Sfas Emes. The Sfas Emes says as follows. He quotes the Gemara. The Gemara asks the following question, and the sugi of the Gemara is a very important introduction to what we're going to be discussing today and Be'ez Hashem the rest of the week. B'siyata Dishmaya. The Gemara discusses the inyan about Chanuka and starts to discuss many of the halachas pertaining to Chanuka, the inyan of where to light the menorah, how high to light the menorah, the inyan of the neiros, which direction, or the whole sugya of the halachas of Hilchas Chanuka is clearly defined in the Gemara. And only afterwards, after the Gemara discusses the halachas of Chanuka, all of a sudden, the Gemara says, my Chanuka. What is Chanuka? And the Gemara goes through the historical facts. Chav Hey, Kislev, there was a war, there was a Mulchama, Baruch Hashem, we won the war, we have a Chanuka. In fact, the Sfas Emes, I don't understand. Lemaisa, don't you think the Gemara first should have started with my Chanuka? What is Chanuka? And once we know what Chanuka is, because we have a little bit of a background to the historical facts, now we can move into the halachas. Once the Pshat asks the Sfas Emes, why the Gemara mamash is faket. The Gemara is the other way around. The Gemara discusses the halachas and only then goes through my Chanuka with the historical facts. And the Sfas Emes answers such a beautiful answer, such an important answer, especially for what we're going to be discussing today, and Be'ez Hashem the rest of the week as well. So the Heilige Sfas Emes, because when a person learns all of the halachas, and he can learn all the halachas of Chanuka, and he can go through all the simonim and understand the different inyanim and the halachas and the details and everything else, which Be'ez Hashem we're going to be discussing the rest of the week. Very important shaylas halacha namaisa. These are the shaylas that every single person asks: where to light my menorah, how to light the menorah, with what oil to light the menorah, which direction to light, what happens if I'm late, can I start early, what if I'm going away, what if I'm traveling, all of the shaylas that come up on Hilchas Chanuka, and there's Kunai Nahora tremendous amounts. You can learn all of that, says the Sfas Emes, but you'll still be left with the kasha, my Chanuka. You'll still be left with the idea of what is going on, what's really behind the Yontiv of Chanuka. You know, the Yontiv of Chanuka isn't just what we sometimes pertain it to be. Okay, you light the menorah, you buy a menorah, you buy, candles or oil, whatever it is, we'll talk about the wicks, you light it, you sing up a few minutes, half an hour, you say V'shoresh Rabbeinu, we'll talk about it. Beseda, Yaitza, I did Chanuka. No. If you look at the Svarim HaKadoshim, and Be'ez Hashem will try to go through some of them, you see that the Yontiv of Chanuka it's an avoida. It's an avoida shleim, it's mamish, a real avoida. And we have to understand why. Where's this coming from? Where is this? Where the Gemara tells us about this? Shulchan tells us about episode Yontiv over here. So the main makor that you have to look at is, of course, the Heilige B'nai Sascha, whose neshama is mamish intertwined with the inyan of Chanuka, mamish unbelievable in Yonim and Chanuka in the Heilige B'nai Sascha. And the B'nai Sascha brings down this kasha. And he says, I don't understand, don't find it in the Gemara. It's such a short shtickle in the Gemara about Chanuka. Even he says in the Zohar Kodesh, it's mentioned once, B'derech Agav. And you find the Chanuka is a psayontiv, the Olam go mishiga. The Rebbes, the Tzadikim, the Gedolim, Mamish hold Chanuka, they wait the whole year for the Heilige Neiris, the Heilige Adlokas, the whole Yontiv of Chanuka. From what? What's it all about? Where does it come from? Where are we getting this from? So B'nai Sascha answers, you can look this up in this Maimon Kislev, Maimon Beis Chav Aleph, that he brings down a very, very big yesod. He says you have to understand the following. In the days of Chazal, they had to hide the inyan of Chanuka. It had to be concealed. It wasn't something that they were able to be megala. It wasn't something that was able to be revealed until the generation of the Ikvus of the Mashiach, until the generation right before Mashiach. Because we know Chanukah is a lashon of chinuch. Chinuch means to train a child or to train anyone to do something at a specific time. Chanukah is a lashon of chinuch because it trains us in what? It trains us in this illumination, in this gilu hashchina, in the illumination of the light that can only be found on Chanuka, specifically now, at the time of Ikvus of the Mashiach, where it's so close, where Klal Yisrael is so close to the Geula. We're just waiting, we're anticipating, we can't wait, we're desperate, we need it. It's at this time That, says the Bnei Sascha, is the reason why in Chazal it's so special. It's mentioned such a few times because it had to be concealed. The light could only be really illuminated in our times, and that's why we find an explosion of so many things going on about Chanuka, the Sfarim that are written, the Inyanim that are being talked about now about Chanuka were not talked about years ago, because now the light is getting brighter and brighter. It's closer and closer to the Geula, and as closer we get, the more illumination is necessary. As I take the Heilige Bnei Sascha. And I say, just as an introduction, Be'ez Hashem, tomorrow we'll go through the halachas, but just as an introduction, let's understand one thing. Before we talk about the mitzvah, how to do the mitzvah, is there a din of a Suda on Hanukkah, drinking, eating meat, all of the halachas of dreidel, donuts, all of these things, Be'ez Hashem, B'siyat Shema, will try and get through. But before we get that, if you would ask any child, or most people for that matter, what is Hanukkah? What's the inyan of Hanukkah? Explain to me Hanukkah. Remind me about Hanukkah. What will they tell you? The menorah, the neiris, right? They found the Pach Shemen. Wow, gewaldig. They found it with the Kohen Gadol seal. They lit it. It lasted for 8 days. Gewaldig and ace. Wow, unbelievable. So I have a kasha. And this is probably one of the most famous questions that exist on Hanukkah, apart from obviously the Beis Yosef's kasha. That's obviously the most famous. This is probably the second or maybe third most famous question. That if you would ask anyone, what is the Nes of Hanukkah? And they'll tell you, of course, it's the Neiris. That's what it was. They found the Pach Shemen. Wow, unbelievable. So why is it not mentioned in Al Hanissim? One of the only things, apart from Halal, of course, one of the only things that we add, that we do, Halal v'hoidah Lashon Rambam, on Hanukkah, different to during the week, is we say Al Hanissim, in benching, in Shemona Esra. And you don't mention this thing? And you don't mention this Yisoid, that they found the Pach Shemen. It slipped in over there. But it's not like the Ikka. What's the pshat? So once again, this is probably one of the most famous Torahs that we have on Hanukkah from Chaim Shmulevitz Zatzal, where he brings the following Maisa. And he says like this. He says, imagine if you have a mother that is bathing her baby. She's giving a bath to a baby. Baby needs a bath every day. Baby's receiving the bath. How do you know if the woman that's giving the bath to the baby is indeed the mother, or maybe it's cleaning help? Maybe it's the woman that lives in the house that helps with the kids, helps with the cooking, helps with the cleaning, whatever it may be. How do you know which one it is? So Reb Chaim Shmulevitz said very simply. Reb Chaim Shmulevitz said it depends like this. If you see that after the baby received the bath, the woman that's giving the bath gives a kiss to the baby, then you know that it is the mother of that child. Then you know it's the mother of the child, because only the mother of the child is going to give a kiss to that baby. Someone that's just simply helping in order to do that, to give a bath to the baby, is not going to give the kiss. Says Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, an unbelievable Yesod Rabbi. So listen to this. He says, he says, Avada, throughout our history, and it's still going on right now, Ad Hayom Hazeh, today included, that they're always going to try to kill us, they're going to try to get us, there are going to be mulchamas, there always were mulchamas, and there are mulchamas as we speak at this moment of time. But the question is, the Rabbeinu Shalom has to save us. As I state, he's always going to save us. Klal Yisrael are eternal, we're always going to be here, there's always going to be a Yeshua, we know that. We know we're going to be saved. But how do we know, asks Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, if we're being saved because Hashem has to save us, or is it because He wants to save us, because He loves us? And the answer, says Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, is in exactly this yesod. If there's a kiss at the same time. If you receive a kiss at the same time, then you know that what? That the Rebbeinu Shalom saved us out of love, because He wanted to. We find this so many times. And that's, by the way, to answer, before we move on, that's the answer of why the miracle of Hanukkah is, of course, defined by so many people as the Pach Shemen, as the oil that they found, but yet we don't mention it. You know why? Because a child that received the bath and got a kiss from its mother doesn't say thank you for the kiss, says thank you for the bath. And therefore we talk about the Muhammad because Avada, that was the Ikanes. The kiss that we got, the Pach Shemen, that was the kiss that we received. And that kiss that we received is something that, of course, we have to thank the Rebbeinu Shalom for, but it's not part of the text of what we're saying. And Rabbi say you find this so many times. I'll give you an example. I have a cousin of mine that lives on Sorotskin, An Israeli guy, tremendous Talmud Chacham. A man that knows Shas, Poskim, V'Rishonim, Achronim, Kemat word for word, Bal Peh. Unbelievable Yid. He gives about 6 Daf Yomi Shurim every single day. The man's a genius. He's a dictionary, his encyclopedia. He's amazing what he knows. Following a situation happened when I was a bacher here in Yeshiva. His daughter was diagnosed, Rahman al-Islam, with a terrible illness. Terrible, terrible illness. And he had to take her constantly to the hospital in Bnei Brak for treatment. Rahman al-Islam, she didn't survive. She was nifter afterwards. But the point was, when he was going to hospital to take her, he didn't have a car. Buses is not gishmak, especially with a sick daughter. It's not gishmak. And he told me the following story. He said to me, at one specific time, he desperately needed to get to the hospital for a quick treatment and come back right before Shabbos. He didn't know how he's going to get there. And what happened was, he was walking on Sorotskin, and a car pulled down, and he was walking with his daughter. He was waiting by a bus stop, and a car said, "Where are you going? Maybe I can help you." And he said, "No, it's fine. Don't worry about it." "No, but where are you going?" No, it's fine. You're not going to be going my direction. "Tell me where you're going." "I'm going to Bnei Brak." "Oh, Gavaldik. That's exactly where I'm going." Get in the car. He had an empty car in the back. He got in the car. Took him straight to the hospital. Okay, beautiful. And then, when he was in the hospital, he did the treatment. He was figuring out his way. How's he going to get back to Yerushalayim? It's before Shabbos. He had to figure out a mahalach. Somebody was walking up and down the aisles, and they were saying, "Does anybody need a ride to Yerushalayim?" He said, "Yeah, I need a ride with my daughter." "No problem. Come into the car." And he said to me the following. He said, "Gzeira is a gzeira." Sometimes we emes don't understand why the Rebbeinu Shalom does what he does, but I felt that there was a kiss. I felt that the Rebbeinu Shalom was embracing me. I felt the Rebbeinu Shalom was hugging me. And that's an amazing, and that's the Nes of Chanuka. You know, just on a similar note, and we'll end. The hostages, and we don't really understand and know what they're going through, what situation they're in, what conditions that they're being held in. We don't really understand. And Be'ezus Hashem, all of them will be let out b'korev mamash. But Al Kaponim, just imagine, put in your head for a moment the tsar of a Yid that's being held hostage by Hamas. In whatever conditions, it's irrelevant. Without any, outside sources, they have no phones, they have no way of communicating with the outside world, they have no idea what's going on in the world. So the first few days, you can imagine, they're probably thinking, all right, it's only going to take a few days, the Israeli army, Be'ez Hashem, we're going to be out of here very soon. Day after day after day, week turns into the second week, turns into the third week, turns into the fourth week, turns into the fifth week. Eventually, they lose hope. Eventually, they think, is anybody even thinking about me? Has anybody even realized that I'm missing? Maybe they don't even know I'm missing. Maybe they think everybody else is missing, but they didn't cop that I'm missing. But they don't realize what's going on, that there are world leaders discussing them specifically. There's people learning Torah, saying Tehillim, being Mekabel, Gavaldige mitzvahs, Shabbos Kodesh, Tefillin, Tzitzis, so many mitzvahs of Rosh Hashanah for their schus, for their return. They don't even chap. Because certain times, we're living in darkness, we're living in times that we don't understand, that we don't see the light, that it doesn't make any sense. And Rabbi said the light of Chanuka, the Yontiv of Chanuka, is exactly that. The Yontiv of Chanuka is to illuminate sometimes within the darkness where it makes no sense, where things don't add up, where things don't go the way we want them to do. And then when the Maisa, we light those candles, it illuminates the darkness. That's the Yontiv of Chanuka. Says the Bnei Yisachar, that's the Yisoid. We're right by the Geula, we're right there. Rabbi said we're almost there. We have to really anticipate, we have to want, we have to beg, we have to daven, we have to believe. Mashiach is coming. We have to believe it. We need it. Klal Yisrael need it now more than ever before. As the Heilige Baditsheva once said, Rabbi Nisham, bring Mashiach. I guarantee you it's only getting worse, not any better. It's only worse at this time right now, Rabbi say. Chanukah's here, Be'ez Hashem, B'siyata D'Shmaya, we should be zoicha, not only to keep the halachas, but we should be zoicha to be able to understand, to connect, and to live the wonderful Yontiv of Chanukah. Have a wonderful day.